Welcome back to Candy Adventures. I'm Chris.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And today, we've got a little review for you for our newest adventure steed, this KBO Ranger cargo utility bike.
Let's get started.
All right, corporate shilling out of the way. If you've seen any of our previous videos, we have become quick converts that e-bikes are the most awesome way to adventure. And KBO here was kind enough to send us this electric cargo bike so that we could test out for you and do a little review.
And you can see by cargo, we have this amazing back rack that also kind of acts as a passenger seat, which is very unique to this model.
That back rack is rated for up to 120 pounds, and the bike in total is rated for 400 pounds, which is pretty impressive for a bicycle. We're gonna get some of the main specs and features of this bike out of the way, then we're gonna head out and test it. All right, so let's start with the heart and soul of this bike, and a lot of where your money goes when you're buying an e-bike is the battery. Batteries are expensive. So this battery comes out with the help of a key. You don't need this key unless you plan on taking your battery out, so you don't have to leave it hanging in your bike. But you just turn the key, open this up, drop your battery out, and there it is, the heart and soul. This is a 48 volt, 17.5 amp hour battery that powers this bike. And KBO claims that it's good for about 60 miles, but it's hard to say what the mileage is. We've been riding it a lot, and it does have good mileage, but it's hard to say. It's very hilly here in Western North Carolina. We've been riding two up and pulling a dog trailer, and it's done very well. KBO uses Samsung and LG cells on their batteries, which is really great because some companies cut corners on who manufactures their batteries. And I don't know if you remember a few years ago, the big craze was all of the hoverboards catching on fire everywhere. So it's really nice to know that they use LG and Samsung cells in these.
Tried, tested, and true.
The second biggest part of this bike is the motor. This unit uses a 750 watt brushless geared hub motor. Now it's rated to put out 750 watts continuously, but we have noticed it will peak a little bit higher, which is really nice because some brands rate their motor for like a 750 watt. They mean that is the peak power. So I've noticed a lot of like the Rad Power bikes, maybe it's rated for a continuous 500 and it'll peak to 750. This one is rated for a continuous 750 and it will peak even higher. The other great part of this bike that we think is going to work really awesome in our adventures is this rear cargo rack, which used to be you had to pay extra for, and with some of the other companies you still do. The floorboards and this cargo rack, which are two separate add-ons, come with the bike for the base price from KBO, which is awesome because when we were looking at some other brands, all these were extra $100 or $200 add-ons, so they come with this bike now. Getting back to some just regular bike stuff, this comes with a 7-speed Shimano gear set. First gear in this is geared really low, and if you didn't have battery power, just riding it around here, it seems to be geared fine for just using it without any kind of assistance whatsoever. So a nice gear set. The other nice thing is these big, wide, ergonomic, padded grips on this thing, which kind of fit your whole hand and not just the inside of your hand here. It really lets you spread out some of the load. The tires that come on this thing are 20-inch by 3-inch wide tires, which because this is a rigid fork and a rigid frame, there's no suspension on it. These tires add a nice little bit of cushion as you're riding that we found. And they've got a nice design that is would work well for gravel, and I think its intended purpose would be the street. And they got a lot of street traction. The other nice thing we've noticed about this style of bicycle in general is the smaller wheel sizes. Most e-bikes now have like 26-inch fat tires. These 20-inch wheels give this motor a lot more torque. When you change the size of your wheels, you're essentially changing the final drive ratio of your vehicle. If you've ever lifted a Jeep or a truck and you went from like 32s to 35s, you're gonna lose significant amount of miles per gallon and acceleration. So we've noticed with this 750 watt hub motor, and comparing it to some other bikes we've ridden, it has a lot more grunt for climbing hills. And I think some of that is probably due to this smaller wheel size, which gives the motor a better advantage for that low end torque. It's a smaller lever that the motor has to overcome to get you moving. So we found this wheel size to be almost perfect for this cargo bike. The other thing that makes this bike really cool is this super low step over height. So if you're using this thing in the city to go get groceries, or you're a little bit older, have mobility problems, it's just so much handier to step like this instead of swinging your leg over a bar that would be up here. My mom has ridden this thing and she's all of 5 foot nothing, which this bike is rated for riders as short as like 4'11". And she loves this thing because it's so easy to step over and ride. It's so easy to step over and then get on the pedals and hop up on the seat. The seat is also adjustable with this quick release, and it'll adjust all the way down. So you can really see how short of a person you could have on this. For reference, I have a 32-inch inseam, and this seat's all the way down here. So you could really get a short rider on here. Also, something very important that I think every cargo bike should have is a center stand. This makes it so awesome and handy for loading this rear rack and doing any kind of maintenance. These bikes come about 90% put together. Having this rear center stand, which was already mounted, made it super easy to put on this front tire. Let's do this together. Everybody loves this. Ooh, that's so satisfying.
Whoa.
So fired up here, you can see you have an odometer down here, and this is your pedal assist level. Now this has 5 levels of pedal assist. It also has your speed in miles per hour and your remaining energy. This thing also has a headlight, if you hold this down, and a backlit display. Also included in this bike, which a lot of e-bikes, it's an additional accessory, is this has a brake light, which is super nice, that you don't have to worry about wiring this up. Or a lot of bikes will throw just a battery powered one on here that's powered by a separate, like a watch battery. This one is powered from the main battery on the bike, so you don't ever have to worry about it. I love a throttle on an e-bike. It makes it so much easier when you're riding it, and it's just nice to have. I thought this didn't have one, and then I figured out it does have one, but it's like a motorcycle throttle. I actually prefer this style of throttle. The other cool little feature of this bike that it has, which I'm starting to see come on a lot of bikes, is there's a handle under here under the seat. And it makes this super easy to pick up and move around. In fact, these cargo bikes in general are just easier to manhandle because they have just grips everywhere where you can reach down and grab them to load them or move them around. And that little handle back here also serves a second purpose for if someone's riding back here, like in our little intro bit there, Elizabeth can hold a handle down here. So super handy. One more quick thing I want to mention before we go out and test ride this thing is that when I was originally setting up the front brake, it was dragging a little bit. I contacted KBO's customer support, or I think they call it their post-purchase team. I got an email back within 10 hours, which I found impressive. And they gave me a link and sent me 2 or 3 emails back and forth of how to adjust this brake. Here you can see there's space for this to move around and be adjusted. So I'm going to loosen up these 2 bolts, one on the top and one on the bottom. And then I'm going to spin the wheel and it'll kind of self-center itself, and you can adjust it to where it doesn't touch anymore and then tighten it back down. Which I really like, because sometimes you worry about these companies where you're not going through a dealer and it's a direct to customer shipper. Maybe I don't have anybody to call if there's an issue. And they emailed me back 2 or 3 times, which is really awesome that you can actually get a hold of someone and have them answer your questions. So I just wanted to mention that while I was setting it up. It shows my stupidity that I didn't know how to adjust these brakes, but it also shows that someone reached out. Let's load this thing up, take it to a bike trail where it belongs, and see how it does. Hopefully this works. All right, we made it down to our local bike park here in Asheville, North Carolina, here on the western end of the state, which is a pretty popular place for bicycle enthusiasts. As you can see, we have a full battery. I'm in pedal assist level 1. Now this is a cadence sensor, not a torque sensor. So if you have a preference towards one or the other, this one is a cadence sensor, but it seems to work well. Go ahead and try level 2. That seems plenty strong. It seems that more it affects the speed than the actual power that it gives you. It seems to give you full power in each one up until a certain speed. So in pedal assist level 1, it's wanting to help me out here until 10 miles an hour. Take it to level 2, and it's wanting to help me out to about 13.5, 14 miles per hour on pedal assist level 2, which seems like a pretty good setting for a situation like this bike park here, where there's a mixture between people on bicycles, roller skates, people walking their dog. Let's try level assist 3, no people around. So 3 is getting us to about 16 miles an hour on pedal assist level 3. Super smooth. I prefer, after playing around with this, I prefer just to leave it on pedal assist level 1, and then if you need a little extra, to just use the throttle over here. I find to me, that's the best. I've been riding motorcycles since I was like probably 10 years old, and I still ride motorcycles and I love them. But there is something to be said for these silent e-bikes that are just so much fun. Even though it's nowhere near the horsepower of a motorcycle, the places that you can go, you could never ride a motorcycle through here. And I think this will really help get us to some fishing spots and just explore and be able to explore more distance in the same amount of day. I think that's the biggest selling feature of e-bikes now is you can just do more. It's not about just being lazy and not wanting to pedal. I think it's about being able to cover a larger amount of ground in the same day, and then when you get somewhere, you still have energy to do the other activity. Maybe it's fishing or a hike or anything like that. Even where we're headed, the Pacific Coast Highway, you know, it commonly has landslides that wash it out. I know a year or two ago there was a landslide that washed it out, but they still allowed bicycles and e-bicycles to go around the slide and go out onto the Pacific Coast Highway. So it allowed people to still enjoy the beauty of the Pacific Coast Highway and put 5, 10, 20 miles on in a day with their e-bike. So we've already mounted a trailer hitch onto this bicycle, and we've got a little trailer that we're gonna use to haul Mona around. We're fixing to move to. Pretty handy for that, and we're gonna test that here in the next few minutes. Putting a trailer on it, seeing how this bike does pulling a trailer, because it's doing awesome just pulling me around. I'm about 190 pounds. All right, let's see if he'll make it up this steep hill, throttle only, no pedal assist. Ready, go. I think it's not gonna have a problem. Oh yeah, no problem. I even slowed down as we were passing those people. And this is no problem. This is a very steep hill. This always kicks my butt every time I run up through here. Seems to be doing really well. If you wanted to, you can ride this thing in throttle only mode, and it's pretty hilly around here. You can see steep hills here and steep hills here, and it's doing just fine. So let's head back and see if we can hook it up and if it'll pull a trailer with a dog on it. All right, that's the second time our DJI magnet has failed us. But I was just saying, it'd be a really awesome utilization of a cargo e-bike to put your car upstream of this river, put your bike downstream, and then it's a tube, and then you could you could ride back up to your car with your e-bike, and then put your e-bike back in the back of your truck or in your car. And it's all one self-contained unit and an easy way to go tubing. I think that would be an awesome way. We're moving to California very soon, but if we weren't doing that, I think that definitely would have been something we'd be doing.
Definitely.
All right, let's head back to the car and go get Mona, our dog, and a trailer and see how this thing does with a trailer.
We have made it back, and we've got our dog cart set up, and we're gonna put Mona's safety harness on and get her in there. Come here. Good girl. Oh, you're so brave. And you can see this one is securing from the top, so it's not around her throat, it's just gonna be around her chest. And let's get her loaded up. Oh boy, come on up here, come on. Good girl. Keep going, all the way, good girl. So Chris customized this cart. Is actually made for 2 kids. It's a Burley kid bicycle cart. And he took the seats out, put in custom flooring so that she has an entire flat platform to stand on with a little cushion, and then we have her braced in with this rope at the top. And then to add to the customization, he's also put our rod holders back here, so not only is it an awesome dog cart, but it is also a nice fishing setup.
All right, this is the true test. This is the true test of a cargo utility bike. We got some cargo, and we've got our little baby angel princess back here, which is why I will be the one steering the bicycle, because there is a 5-lane highway at the bottom of this very steep hill, which is going to be a very good test. Elizabeth has a habit of wrecking things. The motorcycle safety course did take a couple of tries for her due to that, so shots fired. We have our trailer hooked up, we got Mona hooked up, we got our fishing rods, we got our tackle, we've got all the ways that we're going to use this bike in the future, and testing it out and let you know how it does. The hill will be going down and back up is very steep. So it'll be a good test of both the brakes and a good test of the motor, because we're going to try to do this throttle only. So we'll fire up the bike here. All right, Mona's ready, I'm ready. Let's go down towards this 5-lane highway and see how good the brakes are. No problem.
Oh, she's a good girl.
No problem. You can see the precipice of danger that we're on here, as there's a giant highway that this steep road would go straight into. No problem on the brakes. Rode them all the way down just to test them. I'll be honest, I don't notice she's back there. I see the potential in this being the most amazing setup that there's ever been on a bicycle. All right, we've got Mona's cam turned on. Now we're gonna try to do this very steep hill throttle only. I'm not even gonna give the bike the advantage of a head start. I'm gonna start down here where it's flat and then just full throttle and see what it does. Here we go. I think this is gonna be no problem. Oh wow, no pedaling, full throttle.
Run!
No problem. No problem. We made it. We made it. No pedaling. Absolutely perfect. She starts wagging her tail now. We've been working with her for about a week. Yeah, she's relaxed. All right.
She's having a good time.
Easy peasy. All right, so that's our review. It has met our expectations. I don't see any real issues with this. The company responded to our emails when we were asking some questions about assembly and adjustment.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty versatile. If you're older or have physical limitations, or you even want something fast and torquey, both of them.
Or you just have a childlike sense of wonderment and you want to build a trailer for your dog and bring your fishing poles along, which is how we're going to be using this in the future.
Yep.
This thing's awesome.
So we wanted to give this a good test and trial run with the full setup before we head out for California, and it did great, so we're excited to take it with us.
If you're interested in this bike, we do have a referral link that you can click on. It'll take you straight to the page, and if you're interested in it, check it out. If not, that's cool too.
Yeah, but this will be in a couple more videos, and we'll definitely take it on some adventures.
Yep. Next time you see this thing, it's going to be probably somewhere around Monterey, California.
Fishing or taking the dog, something like that.
See you guys next video.